The war had stretched across light years, leaving trails of fire and silence in its wake. Entire council fleets had been shattered. Worlds that had once bowed in fear now whispered of freedom. And at the center of it all stood humanity, unyielding, determined, and united. The remnants of the Galactic Council had retreated to their most secure systems, clinging to power with desperation. Their fleets were scattered, their influence waning, and for the first time in history the galaxy knew that the Council could be defeated. Earth's fleet had grown larger and stronger with every battle. New ships had joined the Titans and destroyers, many supplied by allies who had once lived in fear of the Council. The Ilari, now healed and rebuilt, had sent scouts and advisors. Other species, inspired by humanity's courage, contributed vessels, intelligence, and manpower. The coalition of free worlds, led by Earth, had become a force the galaxy had never seen. Commander Elias Ward stood on the bridge of the Resolute, gazing at the charts of the Council's last stronghold, the capital system of VornPrime. "Sir," Lieutenant Sarah Kwan said, her voice steady despite the tension, "all remaining Council fleets have been located. Their defenses are concentrated around the capital planet. This is the final engagement." Ward nodded. "We fight not just for Earth, but for every world that suffered under them. Today the Council falls. Prepare the fleet." Below, the bridge was alive with activity. Engineers monitored shield systems, pilots calibrated weapons, and communications officers relayed final messages of solidarity from allied species. Every crew member knew the stakes. Every life counted. The Titan-class dreadnoughts, massive and imposing, lined the front of the formation. Behind them, destroyers and cruisers weaved through asteroid fields hidden from enemy sensors. The element of surprise had always been humanity's strength, and it would not fail now. As the fleet entered orbit around VornPrime, the Council fired its first volleys. The sky ignited with energy beams and missiles, a storm of fire and light, but the Titans moved like unstoppable walls. Shields flared, absorbing the attacks, while railguns and particle cannons tore through Council warships. The battle was immense. Explosions shook space, and debris from destroyed ships drifted like stars fallen from the sky. Human tactics, honed over years of fighting, allowed them to strike at the Council's weak points. Destroyers darted between larger vessels, releasing swarms of drones to sabotage engines and weapons. Cruisers flanked dreadnoughts, exploiting gaps in the enemy's formation. From the surface of VornPrime, Council leaders watched in horror. The fleet they had relied on for centuries was crumbling. Panic spread through their command halls, yet even as the humans fought, they remembered their purpose. They were not conquerors. They were avengers for the fallen and protectors of freedom. In the midst of battle, a message was broadcast across all Council communications. "We do not fight for power. We fight for justice. Every life you have silenced will be remembered. Your empire ends here." The Council faltered. Fear entered their ranks. Ships that had once been symbols of dominance now scattered, unsure of where to strike or how to defend. The Coalition's forces pressed forward, relentless. Commander Ward watched the central dreadnought of the Council's fleet, the flagship Empyrean, glow with energy. Its shields were immense, and its weapons were feared across the galaxy. But Ward had a plan. "Target their shields," he ordered. "Concentrate fire from the Titans and the cruisers. Once the shields fall, we hit the command bridge." The fleet obeyed. Energy beams, missiles, and railgun slugs focused on the Empyrean, pounding it relentlessly. For the first time, cracks appeared in its armor. Council crews panicked as the mighty ship shuddered under the coordinated assault. On the planet below, the citizens of VornPrime watched as their leader's once imposing fleet burned in orbit. Some had secretly supported the Coalition. Others were simply bystanders caught in the tide of history. Yet even they felt hope, the first in generations. The galaxy could be free. In orbit, the final moments came quickly. The Empyrean, once the symbol of the Council's power, exploded in a flash of light that rivaled a star. Shockwaves tore through the remaining ships, scattering the Council's forces into oblivion. Silence followed. For the first time in centuries, the core worlds were defenseless. Humanity had struck at the heart of tyranny and survived. With the Council broken, Allied fleets moved to secure former core world systems. Leaders who had once ruled with fear surrendered. Many species, long oppressed, began rebuilding.
Humanity did not claim these worlds for itself.
Instead, Earth extended its hand in cooperation. At the heart of the newly liberated systems, a grand assembly was formed. Representatives from dozens of species gathered, with humans standing among them. President Amina D'Souza addressed the assembly, her voice calm but firm. We do not seek empire. We do not seek conquest. We fight to ensure that no voice can ever again be silenced. We fight to protect allies old and new. Together we will build a galaxy where freedom and justice are not privileges, but rights. Her words were met with applause from every corner of the assembly. For the first time in history, the galaxy saw a coalition not built on fear but on trust. Meanwhile, on Earth, celebrations were cautious but heartfelt. Families gathered to watch transmissions from the fleet. Children saw ships they had only dreamed of in orbit, titans gleaming like mountains among the stars. Adults remembered the sacrifices made, the friends lost in battle, and the courage that had carried humanity across the void. General Hale addressed the people of Earth from the broadcast. We have fought for years to protect not only ourselves, but every species that once stood alone. We have faced fear, loss, and impossible odds, and now we have prevailed. Let this victory be a promise. Humanity will not bow. Humanity will not forget, and humanity will always stand for those who cannot stand for themselves. The words resonated across the planet. Humanity had proven itself to the galaxy, not through empire, but through courage, loyalty, and the willingness to fight for others. On Vorin Prime, surviving Elari gathered in rebuilt cities. Saraya, the Elder, looked at the sky where human ships now patrolled as guardians. You remembered us, she said softly. You fought for us when no one else would. We owe you everything, and we will walk with you into the stars. Commander Ward received her message aboard the Resolute. He smiled, knowing the galaxy had changed forever. Humanity had risen not through dominance but through the strength of their hearts. In the following weeks, the last council systems fell without a fight. Species that had lived under fear for generations tasted freedom. Trade routes reopened. Worlds rebuilt their cities once burned or abandoned. Humanity helped where it could, not to claim victory but to ensure that no tyranny could rise again. And in the vastness of space, human ships patrolled, guardians of the free. Titans, destroyers, and cruisers moved like shadows across star systems, a warning to anyone who might try to impose fear. The galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. That courage could overcome numbers, that loyalty to friends could overcome fear, that humanity, once underestimated, could rise and protect the innocent across the stars. Commander Ward stood once more on the bridge of the Resolute, gazing at the endless stars. The battles were over, but the work of peace had just begun. Humanity has done more than win a war, he said to his crew. We have reminded the galaxy what it means to fight for justice, and we will continue to do so wherever we are needed. Lieutenant Quan nodded. And the Aelari? They will rebuild, Ward said, smiling faintly. With us by their side and with every world that chooses freedom, we will make sure that no one suffers as they did. Humanity has risen. The galaxy will remember us, not for our firepower, but for our courage, our loyalty, and our honor. Above, the stars stretched endlessly. And for the first time, humanity walked among them, not as guests or children of the galaxy, but as protectors, allies, and friends. The age of humanity had begun. The galaxy would never forget the war they had fought, nor the promise they had kept. The galaxy was burning again. Stars that once shone quietly were now hidden behind clouds of smoke and fire. Whole fleets battled in the dark space between planets. Explosions flashed like artificial suns, each one marking the death of ships and soldiers. The war between the Dravari Dominion and the Kelran Unity had lasted for decades, and neither side showed mercy. To the people of the galaxy, this war was endless. One world after another had been dragged into the conflict. The Dravari, proud and ruthless, wanted to control every trade route and resource. The Kelran, disciplined and stubborn, refused to give up their independence. Both sides had fought so long that even victory began to feel meaningless. It was into this storm of destruction that a new ship arrived. The vessel came from a direction no one expected. It was not part of the Dominion fleets or the Unity's defense lines. It was small compared to the massive alien warships that filled the battle zone. Its design was unfamiliar, its armor plain, its signals strange. The alien scanning it did not recognize the codes. The ship was human. Its name was HSS Valiant. The Valiant entered the edge of the battlefield in silence, drifting calmly while alien fleets clashed around it. Neither side knew what to think. Dravari commanders thought it was a civilian vessel that had wandered into the wrong sector. Kelran officers assumed it was some minor species transport, too foolish to realize the danger. But the Valiant did not turn away. It did not run. Its crew sat at their posts, eyes on their screens, hands ready on their controls. Captain Elias Rourke, an experienced officer of Earth's Defense Forces, stood in the command chamber. He studied the chaos before him. To his crew he spoke in a calm voice. "Mark the fleets. Identify the weapons. Learn everything." The crew obeyed. They were not frightened by the size of the alien armadas. Humans had faced danger before. The galaxy did not know it yet, but humans had learned to survive against impossible odds long before they reached the stars. The Dravari noticed first. One of their cruisers, shaped like a spiked blade, turned toward the Valiant. Its commander sneered at the small human ship. To the Dravari, size meant power, and the Valiant looked insignificant. He ordered a transmission. The alien's voice echoed through the void, harsh and full of arrogance. "Unknown vessel, you are in the territory of the Dominion. Leave at once or be destroyed." On the Valiant, the crew received the message. The captain gave a simple answer. "This is the human ship Valiant. We will not leave." "We are observing," the Dravari commander laughed. He fired a warning barrage, energy bolts cutting across the space near the Valiant. The blast lit up the ship's hull but did not touch it. It was meant as a scare, a reminder of power. The Valiant moved. With quiet precision, it slid through the path of the incoming fire. Every thruster burned at the right moment, every calculation exact. To the alien observers, it was as if the human ship had predicted the attack before it even came. The Dravari cruiser fired again, this time aiming to hit. The Valiant responded instantly. Shields flared, weapons came online, and beams of concentrated energy shot out. The first volley struck the cruiser's forward cannons, disabling them. The second volley tore through its side armor, forcing it to retreat. The battle zone paused. For a brief moment, even as fleets continued to fight, many alien commanders turned their sensors toward the strange ship. A vessel smaller than most escorts had just crippled a Dominion cruiser. The Kelran were the first to speak among themselves. "Who are these humans?" one commander asked. "They fight differently. They move differently," another replied. The humans had only begun. Inside the Valiant, the crew worked like a single mind. Each officer trusted the other. Their voices were calm, their hands steady. Unlike many alien fleets which depended on strict hierarchy and old traditions, the humans relied on teamwork. Every soldier's idea mattered. Every calculation was tested. Every move was made with unity. Captain Rourke gave his next order. "Advance into the battlefield. Show them how we fight." The Valiant moved deeper, straight into the storm of war. Alien ships of both sides tried to ignore it at first, focusing on their long struggle. But the humans did not stay hidden. They moved through formations, targeting weak points, cutting open paths that no alien strategy book had ever considered. The Valiant was not invincible. It did not have the strongest weapons or the thickest shields, but it had something no one else had: adaptability. Where Dravari ships attacked in predictable waves, the humans shifted their formation every second. Where Kelran fleets defended with rigid walls, the humans slipped between them, striking at blind angles. Every moment the Valiant remained in the battle zone. Both sides learned something new, and it terrified them. The Dravari grew angry. They saw the humans as an insult, a small species daring to challenge their power. Orders spread across their fleets: destroy the human ship. Kelran officers grew cautious. They whispered to one another. Perhaps these humans could become allies. Perhaps they were a danger greater than the Dominion itself. On the bridge of the Valiant, the crew felt the weight of many eyes upon them. Captain Rourke stood tall, watching the screens. "Now they know we are here," he said. "And now they must decide how much they fear us." The first day of the humans in the Galactic War had only begun. The galaxy, for the first time, wondered if this small, stubborn species might change everything. And so the silent arrival of one human warship marked the first step into a new age. Everywhere in space, ships fired beams, torpedoes, and cannons at each other. The Dravari Dominion pressed their attacks with force, while the Kelran Unity stood their ground with strong defenses. But now, in the middle of this endless struggle, all eyes turned toward one ship, the human ship Valiant. The Valiant was smaller than the giants of war that filled the zone. but it moved with a strange confidence. Where alien vessels followed old tactics, the humans flowed like water, adjusting each second. The Dravari commander, whose cruiser had been damaged by the humans, burned with shame. He sent word across the Dominion fleet. Do not let the humans escape. They are nothing but insects. Crush them. A wave of Dravari ships broke away from the larger fight. 4 destroyers and 2 escorts set their sights on the Valiant. Their spiked hulls gleamed with red light, engines roaring as they charged. On the Valiant's bridge, Captain Elias Rourke stood at the center, watching the approaching threat. His officers waited for orders, their hands ready on the consoles. Enemy destroyers on intercept course, reported Lieutenant Mira Chen, the sensor officer. They're faster than us, added the helmsman Ensign Parker. The captain nodded calmly. His voice never rose, even in danger. They want us afraid. We won't give them that. Hold formation. Let them close. The crew obeyed without question. The Dravari ships opened fire first. Bright lances of plasma cut across space, aimed straight at the Valiant. Explosions flared around the human ship as the beams hit empty void. The Valiant twisted at the last second, rolling between the blasts. To the watching aliens, it seemed impossible. A small ship weaving through attacks meant for much larger targets. Then the humans fired back. The Valiant's forward guns spat energy bolts in a rapid stream. They were not the largest guns in the battle, but every shot was placed with sharp accuracy. The first destroyer lost its engines in seconds. The second had its shield generators destroyed, leaving it exposed. The Kelran commanders, watching from a distance, began to murmur. They strike with precision, said one. They move like hunters, said another. The Dravari did not retreat. Their arrogance would not allow it. The 4 destroyers closed in, circling the Valiant, trying to trap it in crossfire. Captain, they're surrounding us, said Mira. Rourke's eyes stayed on the tactical map. Good, that means they think we're predictable. He gave the next command quickly. Helm cut main engines. Drop us into their circle. Weapons, prepare full spread. The crew moved as one. The Valiant slowed suddenly, drifting into the center of the enemy formation. For a heartbeat, the Dravari believed they had their prey. Then the Valiant's weapons lit up. Dozens of missiles streaked outward in every direction. Energy beams flared from all sides. The destroyers, caught off guard, scrambled to defend. 2 were torn apart instantly. The others suffered heavy damage, their escorts burning under the human onslaught. The battlefield flashed with fire. When the smoke cleared, the small human ship still floated untouched. The Dravari formation had been broken. On the Kelran flagships, the officers stared in silence. One whispered a thought that spread quickly among them. If one human ship can do this, what would a fleet of them achieve? Meanwhile, the Dravari grew furious. Losing a cruiser had been shameful. Losing 4 destroyers was unforgivable. Across their fleet, the order went out. All guns to the human. Destroy them at any cost. The Valiant's sensors lit up with dozens of new threats. Whole squadrons were turning toward them. Captain, they're coming from every side, Mira warned. We can't take them all, said Parker. Rourke's voice stayed calm. We don't need to. We just need to show them we will not break. The human crew braced as wave after wave of fire came toward them. The Valiant danced between the attacks, shields flaring, armor sparking. Each strike left scars across the hull, but still the humans held their ground. Then the captain gave a bold command. Target their command ship. Show them we see what they fear to show us. The Valiant's weapons turned not on the smaller ships, but on the towering Dominion battlecruiser that directed the assault. No alien commander had ever dared to strike at a flagship with a single small vessel. But humans did not follow alien logic. The Valiant charged. It slid past enemy lines, weaving between destroyers and interceptors, firing as it went. Missiles smashed into weak points. Beams cut through weapon mounts. Every move was daring, reckless by alien standards, yet perfectly timed. The Dravari flagship's shields trembled under the concentrated fire. For the first time, its commander felt doubt. His officers shouted in panic. The humans are targeting us. Shields are failing. The Valiant did not destroy the flagship, but it left it crippled, its guns silent, its pride shattered. The human ship broke away, vanishing into the debris field before the rest of the Dominion could react. The Kelran fleets, watching closely, saw everything. Their commanders sent encrypted signals to the Valiant. Humans, you fight with courage. Join us and together we may end this war. But the Valiant gave no answer. The humans stayed silent, moving deeper into the battlefield, continuing their strange dance. To the Kelran, This silence was a mystery. To the Dravari it was an insult. To both it was a warning. The humans had their own path and no one could predict where it would lead. As the battle stretched on, one truth became clear. The human ship was not the strongest, not the largest, but it was something new, something the galaxy had never seen before. Unpredictable, determined, dangerous. The first true engagement of humanity in galactic war had ended not with their destruction, but with their victory. And whispers began to spread through every fleet, every command post, every frightened crew. The humans have come, and nothing will ever be the same again. The battlefield was still alive with fire and chaos. The Dravari Dominion and the Kelran Unity had fought for so many years that both sides believed they had seen every kind of trick, every kind of strategy. But today they had seen something new. A single human warship, the HSS Valiant, had entered the war zone and done the impossible. It had disabled cruisers, scattered destroyers, and even crippled a Dominion flagship. Both alien powers now realized a dangerous truth. Humans did not fight like anyone else. Alien reactions. On the Dravari command vessel, the High Commander paced angrily. His scaled hand struck the edge of the table as he growled. One ship humiliates us in front of the entire galaxy. One ship. His advisors tried to calm him. They are small, Commander, primitive. Their weapons are not superior. It is only a matter of luck, but the commander shook his head. He had seen the human tactics himself. No, that was not luck. That was something else. They think differently. They move differently. And if one ship can do this, what happens if more come? On the Kelran side, the mood was different. Their council spoke in quiet tones. These humans fight with adaptability, said one Kelran general. They see paths in the battle that we cannot, said another. We must speak with them. Perhaps they can be our allies. So, while the Dravari prepared to destroy the humans at all costs, the Kelran prepared to reach out with offers of friendship. Inside the Valiant on board the Valiant, the crew worked silently at their stations. They were tired, but their spirits were strong. The ship had taken damage, but its systems still functioned. Every crew member knew they had achieved something no one believed possible. Captain Elias Rourke stood at the center of the bridge. His eyes were calm, his voice steady. Report, he said, minor hull damage. Shields at 60%, said Lieutenant Mira Chen. Engines stable, but we need repairs soon, said Ensign Parker. Enemy fleets regrouping, added Tactical Officer Ramirez. They're preparing another strike. The captain nodded slowly. They're not underestimating us anymore. He turned to his officers. Remember this, our weapons are not stronger. Our armor is not thicker. But we have something they don't. We adapt. We improvise. That is how we win. The crew understood. They had trained under this philosophy for years. Humanity had never been the largest power on Earth, but humans had always survived through creativity. Now they carried that same spirit into the stars. The Kelran's secret offer as the Valiant continued its maneuvers. A secret transmission arrived. The voice on the other end was calm and clear, carrying the tone of command. This is Admiral Sarek of the Kelran Unity. Human vessel, we see your strength. We see your courage. Join us and together we may end the Dominion's tyranny. We will share technology, protection, and honor. The crew looked toward their captain. For the first time, they had a choice beyond fighting. The Kelran wanted them as allies. Captain Rourke listened but did not reply at once. Instead, he asked quietly, "Record the message." "Do not answer." His officers looked surprised. "Sir, why not accept?" "They could help us." The captain shook his head. "We do not yet know them. Their war is not ours. We are here to observe, to learn, and to show that humanity is not weak. We must be careful. If we rush into alliances, we may end up as someone's tool." The crew respected his wisdom. Silence remained the human response. The Dravari trap, meanwhile, the Dravari grew desperate. Their pride had been wounded and their fleet demanded revenge. The Dominion commander designed a trap. "Lure them into Sector 9, he ordered. "Scatter mines across the asteroid field. Hide artillery in the debris. Force the humans into our jaws." The plan was set. A group of Dominion ships broke away, pretending to flee. They hoped the Valiant would chase them straight into the trap. On the Valiant's bridge, Ramirez studied the sensors. "Sir, Dominion destroyers retreating. They're pulling back into the asteroid field." The crew murmured with eagerness. A chance to finish off weakened enemies was tempting. But Captain Rourke raised a hand. "No, this is too neat, too easy. They want us to follow. Mira checked the scans. Asteroid field shows strange energy readings. Possible mines. The captain smiled slightly. Good. Let's give them their trap, but not the way they expect. Turning the trap instead of flying straight into danger, the Valiant changed tactics. Using drones and sensor tricks, the humans created false signals. To the Dravari, it looked like the Valiant had entered the field. The Dominion sprung the trap. Mines exploded, artillery fired, and the debris field lit up with destruction. But when the smoke cleared, the humans were not there. The Valiant appeared behind the Dravari positions, guns blazing. Missiles streaked into hidden batteries, destroying them before they could reload. Beams sliced through mines from a safe distance, setting off chain reactions that destroyed enemy ships instead. The Dominion commander roared in anger as his perfect plan collapsed. They use our own weapons against us. The Kelran, still watching, were astonished. No fleet has ever escaped that trap, whispered Admiral Sarek. The humans not only escaped, they turned it to their advantage. A different kind of warfare. As the battle stretched on, the Valiant revealed more than just clever moves. The aliens began to see the pattern of human tactics. Dravari war doctrine was simple: overwhelm with power, break defenses with sheer force. Kelran's strategy was rigid: defend in strong lines, push forward slowly but steadily. But humans? Humans fought like nothing they had ever seen. They used misdirection. They feigned weakness, then struck at hidden points. They used the environment. Asteroids became weapons, debris became shields. They valued teamwork over rank. Every crew member could speak, could suggest, could think. And together, those voices formed a plan stronger than any single mind. It was war, yes, but it was also creativity, and that was something the galaxy did not understand. The whisper spreads word traveled fast across the battlefield. Kelran soldiers whispered to each other. The humans are clever. They fight with the minds of many, not the pride of one. Dravari warriors muttered in fear. They are not predictable. They are chaos. How do we defeat chaos? Even neutral observers, smaller species watching from afar, took note. Messages spread from ship to ship, from system to system. The humans are here. They are not like us. They change everything. Captain Rourke's reflection. At the end of the long day, when the Valiant had withdrawn to a safe distance to make repairs, Captain Rourke stood alone by the viewing window. He watched the stars, the fires of battle still burning in the distance. His crew worked quietly behind him, patching systems, running checks. He spoke softly, almost to himself. They see us now. They fear us. They wonder about us. But this is only one ship, one crew. The galaxy has no idea how many more we can send. His words carried both pride and warning. Humanity was no longer hidden on the edge of space. The galaxy had seen what one human ship could do, and soon, they would see much more. The Valiant's journey was far from over. The Dravari were not finished, the Kelran were not satisfied, and the humans themselves had not yet shown their full strength. The galaxy was watching. The galaxy was waiting, and the humans were ready. The battle had spread across the stars like wildfire. Explosions lit the void, debris floated among asteroids, and entire fleets danced between destruction and survival. The Dravari Dominion, humiliated by the humans' unexpected victories, had grown desperate. They would not let a single ship defy them again. Their commander devised a bold plan. A massive trap would finally crush the humans. They drew fleets from every direction, hiding massive artillery platforms and minefields in the shadowed regions of a dense asteroid belt known as Sector 12. This was a place no ship could easily escape if caught inside. The Dravari called it the Death Maze. The lure a few Dominion ships moved, openly into the sector, pretending to retreat. Their hulls flashed with signals of surrender. The humans, following the patterns of previous engagements, immediately recognized the lure. On board the HSS Valiant, the crew studied the sensor data carefully. Sector 12 shows heavy mine signatures, said Lieutenant Mira Chen. Hidden artillery platforms. Too many to attack head-on, said Tactical Officer Ramirez. Captain Elias Rourke leaned over the console. His expression remained calm. They expect us to panic. They expect us to retreat. We will do neither, he said. We will turn their trap into our victory. The crew nodded, ready. The humans had survived impossible situations before on Earth and in space. They had learned that danger was not something to flee. It was something to think through. Into the death maze. The Valiant entered the asteroid field cautiously. Unlike the aliens, humans did not rely solely on raw power or shield strength. They used strategy and ingenuity. Small drones launched from the ship, scanning every asteroid and detecting hidden mines. Sensor decoys created false signals, confusing enemy targeting systems. The Dominion fleet, seeing their trap seemingly working, moved forward with confidence. Captain Rourke gave orders in a calm, steady voice. Keep drones in front. Fire only when necessary. Use the environment. Remember, every rock can be a weapon, every gap a shield. The crew obeyed, maneuvering with precision. Where the aliens saw obstacles, the humans saw opportunities. Striking back suddenly, the Dominion fired. Mines exploded in brilliant flashes and artillery beams swept the field. The Valiant dodged, twisting between rocks with incredible skill. Human reflexes combined with advanced calculations allowed the ship to move like a predator through the field. Each blast that should have struck it instead hit an asteroid, which then fell onto enemy ships, crushing weapons and engines. Captain, a mine cluster directly ahead. Ensign Parker shouted. Divert engines slightly left. Trigger them with drones, Rourke commanded. The drones exploded the mines remotely. The shockwave destroyed 2 Dravari destroyers in the blast. The Valiant remained untouched. The Dominion commander's fury grew. His carefully planned trap had been turned against him. He bellowed orders in anger, but every command seemed to fail. The humans were unpredictable. Turning the battlefield, the Valiant did more than survive, it began attacking. Missiles streaked out, striking hidden artillery platforms. Energy beams cut through weapons emplacements. Even the smallest asteroids became weapons when the humans used gravity manipulation and thrusters to send them crashing into enemy ships. The Dravari fleet scrambled, but the humans stayed calm. They were adaptable. Where the Dominion saw chaos, the humans saw opportunity. They used the environment to compensate for their smaller size, turning every weakness into strength. On the Kelran ships watching from nearby, Admiral Sarek whispered in awe. They are not only surviving, they are winning in a place designed to destroy them. Cooperation between species. As the Valiant moved through the death maze, the Kelran began offering support. Their smaller scout ships flanked the human vessel, providing guidance and covering fire. Humans accepted the assistance, but only where it was helpful. They never relied fully on the Kelran, keeping control of the battle in human hands. Captain Rourke gave the order. Coordinate with allies where it strengthens us. Use our tactics where we must. Remember, we fight to survive, not to become tools of others. Together, the humans and Kelran struck the Dominion fleet. Hidden weapons were destroyed. Mines were neutralized. Destroyers that had once seemed invincible were now drifting in space, wrecked by human strategy. Breaking the trap, the Valiant's final maneuver was daring. Captain Rourke directed the ship into a narrow passage between massive asteroids, leading directly toward the Dominion flagship controlling the death maze. The Dravari commander on the flagship realized too late what was happening. They are coming straight at us? Impossible. The Valiant fired concentrated energy beams, striking the flagship's weak points. Shields faltered, weapons were destroyed, and for the first time the Dominion flagship wavered. Then the humans did something the aliens did not expect. They used the asteroids themselves as weapons. Gravity thrusters pushed massive rocks toward the flagship. It tried to evade, but the sheer unpredictability of the attack left it vulnerable. Explosions rocked the flagship. Engines faltered. Systems went offline. The Dominion fleet that had planned the trap was now in full retreat, desperately trying to escape the chaos they had created. The Valiant moved back, showing no sign of arrogance, no hint of celebration. Its mission was not yet over. Humans did not fight for glory. They fought for survival, for strategy, for principle. The ripple effect across the galaxy, observers took note. News of the Valiant's actions spread quickly. Small ships could outsmart giant fleets. Human tactics combined creativity, coordination, and courage in ways alien races had never seen. One species had changed the rules of warfare. Even the Dravari, pride wounded but still dangerous, began to whisper warnings among themselves. They are not predictable. They are something new. The Kelran, inspired by the humans, strengthened their resolve. They saw a way to turn the tide of the long war, and humans had shown them the method. Reflection on humanity inside the Valiant, the crew worked quietly to repair damage. The ship had been through intense danger, but every crew member felt a quiet pride. Captain Rourke walked among them. He looked at the repairs, the monitors, the calm determination of his crew. "You all did well," he said. "Remember this day, not because we destroyed ships, but because we proved what humans can do." Mira Chen smiled. "We turned their trap into a victory." Rourke nodded. "Yes, and tomorrow they will think twice before underestimating us again." The crew understood. Humans were not the largest or strongest, but they were clever, determined, and adaptable. That was their greatest weapon. Preparing for the future as the Valiant left the death maze, Captain Rourke considered the battles ahead. The Dominion would not give up easily. They would plan more traps, send more fleets, and test humanity in ways no one could predict. But humans had already shown one truth. They were not just survivors. They were innovators, problem solvers, and warriors who would not bow to intimidation. Admiral Sarek of the Kelran sent another encrypted message. "Human ship, your tactics are remarkable. You may change the course of this war." Rourke studied the stars silently. "We will see," he said. "Our job is not to take sides yet. Our job is to show the galaxy that humans are a force to be respected." And so, the turning point had been reached. The trap that was meant to destroy the humans had instead revealed the full potential of their strategy, their courage, and their intelligence. The galaxy would never forget this day. The humans had not only survived, they had shown that they could change the rules of war itself.